The past 2 months have been the craziest of my entire life, and now you're asking me to take out my precious Chipotle? All right. Okay, so welcome back to But Better. We're doing Chipotle burritos today. I didn't know if I was ever gonna do this one because, well, 2 reasons. For one, I actually like Chipotle. I do eat there, and it's hard for me to be like, well, let me make this better. But also at the same time, my ego says,
do it, Josh, do it. Don't you ever shy away from the challenge, brother.
And naturally, I'm like, why do you have that accent? But also, okay. Recently, this is the most highly requested But Better I've seen in my DMs on Instagram and TikTok and all my social platforms. By the way, if you have any others that you wanna see, be sure to comment in the comments section. Yes, let's do this, shall we? We're en route Chipotle. It's ahead of us. I don't know if I can go in. Okay, I'm gonna try, and if they yell at me, then, I don't know. All right, we have
Stinky burritos.
So we've got the bag. You know, great branding, and they try to source their stuff well. When you eat a burrito, I see people unwrapping them and just eating the burrito as it, no, unwrap it like a banana. Who in public is gonna unwrap a whole banana and then eat it? That, first off, weird. It's a little bit messy. They left this tomato on here. I'm gonna dock points for that. This is for you, Chipotle. Chicken's actually, this is one of the few times under seasoned. The rice itself has too much lime juice. It's acidic, so it feels like I'm just eating a mouthful of vinegary rice. This is actually kind of a shock to me because usually Chipotle does well. We respect Chipotle around here. This was not the time to not be ready. Chipotle. Let's first start off by marinating our chicken. Obviously the name is Chipotle, therefore we'll have Chipotles in the marinade, but begin with 2 dried guajillo chilies and 2 dried ancho chilies, pull off their tops and de-seed them. Then place their skins into a bowl along with 4 to 6 dried mushrooms of your choice. These are dried oyster mushrooms. Then pour 1.5 cups or 350 milliliters of boiling water on top of your chilies and mushrooms and cover with plastic wrap to let them steep and soften. Now while those guys are sitting in the hot springs of Flavor Town, you're also gonna take a small dry pan, toss in 2 teaspoons or 4 grams of coriander seeds, and 2 teaspoons or 4 grams of cumin seeds. Set that over medium heat, shaking the pan often until fragrant and beautifully toasted. About a minute or 2. Now toss those into a blender and blend on high speed until you get a nice fine powder. Then to that add your rehydrated chilies and mushrooms, along with about half of your soaking liquid, 1 7-ounce can of chipotle peppers and adobo, 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons or 12 grams of kosher salt, the juice of 1 lime. Now just begin blending that and let it blend until completely smooth. Now if it's struggling to blend, just add a little bit of your chili soaking liquid until it loosens properly. Now while that's vortexing and blending, you're then going to stream in 4 tablespoons or 60 milliliters of oil. Now I'm using chili oil because duh, flavor, but if you don't have that, you can just use a neutrally flavored oil such as canola. Let that continue blending until all the oil is emulsified. You have a nice, smooth, beautiful chili marinade. Then take 1.5 pounds or 680 grams of boneless, skinless chicken thighs left whole, pour your marinade on top, toss them all together, cover with plastic wrap, and then just let that marinate in the fridge for at least 1 hour or overnight. Okay, let's talk homemade tortillas. You know, to be completely honest with you, I always thought that lard was the key, or shortening was the key to great tortillas. It turns out if you really want a truly chewy tortilla, you need to use vegetable oil. Otherwise, they're gonna be way too soft. Any liquid fat, really. It's a very simple process. You're gonna need 2 cups or 300 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of kosher salt, a half teaspoon or 2 grams of baking powder. Then give that some whiskey business until thoroughly combined. Now, while mixing with a fork, you're gonna add 3/4 cup or 180 milliliters of hot water, immediately followed by a 1/4 cup or 60 milliliters of vegetable oil. Mix that all together with your fork until it begins to come together as a nice, beautiful little dough. Dump it out onto a work surface and begin kneading by hand until it comes together into a nice, beautiful, smooth dough. Now by hand, this should take about 3 to 5 minutes. Once that's done, cover it with plastic wrap and let it rest for 1 to 2 hours. Gotta let that gluten relax. Let it just have some time to itself. You know, take care of your tortilla dough as you should be taking care of yourself. Are you loving yourself? Are you giving yourself care and attention? Walk up to the mirror, take a look, and give kiss. Don't forget that Papa is always here for you. Chicken is marinating. Tortilla dough is resting. Let's make our beans. Start with 4 to 5 strips of smoky bacon. I'm using Benton's, which is like ultra smoky. Cut those into 1/2-inch segments, place them in a 12-inch skillet, set over medium heat, and begin cooking them, stirring them often, letting their fat release until they get nice and crispy. Now remove the bacon, leaving the bacon fat behind, and add 1 yellow onion that's been very thinly sliced. Season lightly with salt, then cook that over medium heat, tossing occasionally until it begins to get nice and soft. Then add 4 cloves of garlic, saute that until fragrant, then add 1 large jalapeno that's been very thinly sliced, and just let that cook for about 30 seconds. I don't like to cook my jalapenos a ton. I like that sort of fresh chili taste, so that's up to you. Then follow that up with 1 can of drained black beans, a half cup or 120 milliliters of chicken stock. Bring that up to heat and let that simmer until almost all the chicken stock has reduced, about 85% of it or so. Remove it from the heat and stir in 2 tablespoons or 24 grams of unsalted butter until completely melted and emulsified, and you have the most smokiest, baconiest black beans. Now we got one more element to look at here, and that is the rice. As most cultures will tell you, rice is very important, all right? And this is coming from a white boy. Now look, for this recipe, you're gonna need 4 cups of cooked rice. You'll need about 2 cups of a dry medium grain rice. Make sure to rinse it twice, okay? So we've got a strainer set over a bowl. We fill the bowl up with water. We agitate that a little bit. We pull it out, we drain it, and we do that one more time. So the rice rinses the starch off. I don't know why I was talking like Smeagol talks to himself, but yeah. Now, if you really want to properly cook rice, you got to get rid of that pot, all right? Let's be honest. You need to cook it in a rice cooker if you want absolutely perfect rice. Now, if you are using a rice cooker such as this Zojirushi, add your rice in, add equal parts water, so 2 cups of dry rice, 2 cups of water, turn it on, press the button, let it cook, and you got beautifully cooked rice just like that. Now, you can cook your rice however you want, but once you have 4 cups of cooked rice, place your hot cooked rice into a bowl. Now to that, you're gonna add the zest of 1 lime and the zest of 1 lemon, a half cup of finely chopped fresh cilantro, the juice of 2 limes, 2 tablespoons or 24 grams of unsalted butter, and a generous amount of salt to taste. Stir all that together until thoroughly combined, and that is your cilantro lime rice. Now for the chicken, it's really basic. Heat a large pan with enough oil to coat the bottom over medium-high heat and cook that chicken in the pan, flipping often until you have a beautifully browned outside and the chicken is completely and totally cooked and registered 165 degrees internal temperature. Now the way that I actually like to do it is to sear the chicken on both sides just to get color, and then just toss it on a sheet tray and throw it in an oven. Set to 400 degrees Fahrenheit until it's completely cooked through. To me, this is the best way because you can get the color and then just ensure that it's cooked all the way through. Now let's finish off those tortillas. So to do that, divide your dough into about 6 even pieces. Roll each of those pieces into a big ball. We've been making a lot of balls on the show recently. Now take each ball individually. Generously flour your work surface and flour your ball. Pat it down until it's flat, then using a rolling pin, you're gonna roll that beautiful thing out, and ideally you want it to reach around 12 inches in diameter, and as circular as you can get it, of course. Now separately, get yourself a 12-inch cast iron pan, or a comal if you have one, and preheat that over medium-high heat on your stovetop. Now once that's nice and ripping hot, take your raw tortilla that you've just shaped, gently and carefully lay it down into your ripping hot pan, let it cook and bubble up for about 15 to 30 seconds, or until the bottom becomes lightly charred. Flip and repeat on the other side, and immediately remove from the hot pan and place on a plate covered with towels. Then rinse and repeat with the rest of your tortillas. I personally like to shape them one at a time as I cook them, but you can shape them all and then cook them all. It's up to you. Just don't let the dough dry out, please. Once everything's said and done, you should have a bunch of beautiful looking, blistery, lightly charred flour tortillas. We have our elements. Now we just need to wrap them in our tortilla blanket. Take your chicken and cut it into bite-sized pieces. Lay your tortilla down, and look, we're gonna do this just like they do on the line at Chipotle. First, a nice little layer of rice. Don't be overzealous here, okay? Make sure you have the wrapping skills to handle your filling. Followed by your beans, then your chicken, a nice little healthy layer, some diced tomato, some beautifully sliced avocado. Obviously, hit that bad boy with some flaky salt if you a real one. A nice healthy layer of aged manchego cheese, like really nice and healthy layer, That's how I like it. A little bit of cotija cheese. Then muster up your best burrito wrapping skills that you possibly can. I've never been stellar at wrapping burritos, to be honest with you. I really tried to study the Chipotle line cook when I was there, all right? Anyway, roll that bad boy up nice and tight, and let's get ourselves a little cross section. We're gonna take our knife, cut through the center, gently and lovingly. Twist, turn, and that looks like a beautiful burrito to me. Now we shall taste test. That's what I love about this series. We all come together, bring all these ingredients, and we layer, and we layer, and we layer. And each layer gets the most tender love and care that it deserves. The tortilla, the salsa. I forgot to put salsa. Vikram, will you get the salsa? Now we add salsa. Salsa optional. This is the jalapeno salsa, same one that is made for a lot of the ones that I've ever done tacos. I also made it in my quesadilla. Boop. It's time. Oh, I thought this was gonna go all the way on my head. Wow. Whoa. I can't even talk, this is so good. The first bite, your mouth almost doesn't even believe your brain. All the flavors start coming out. The whole avocado far surpasses the texture of guac in a burrito. Chipotle is not authentic Mexican, and I wouldn't necessarily say mine is either, but mine is definitely closer. So if we're looking at authentic, maximized flavor at every single level, we won. We need to bring in someone to taste test. Got somebody new for you. TJ, I need you to enter the arena. Burrito number 1. Force it in there.
Okay.
I'll let you masticate for a little bit.
Okay. That tasted almost like a curry.
I see that. There are some similar curry flavors in there.
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay, and then number 2, I'm gonna place in your hands. I like how he holds them out like it's a baby coming.
Yeah. It's a communion.
It's a communion. It's
Body of Christ.
It's
Amen. Flavor-wise, they're completely different. This one has almost kind of like a umami kind of Asian taste to it, I want to say. Almost like a Japanese taste. It's hard to go with it, but I'm honestly gonna go with that first one.
There it is, folks. You heard it here today.
Who'd I pick? Who'd I pick?
You picked me. Woo! That's the winner, baby. All right, we heard it. Number 1, that is me. We win again, but better episode. I don't know anymore. It's not even gonna happen. I don't know, but we won. Yeah! Yeah! But do you want to know what else has chonky burrito vibes? B-roll. Alright guys, and that is it. So, we made the Chipotle burrito. Let's take a step back for a second and listen carefully. Listen very carefully. Making this from scratch has a multitude of layers. Experientially, that's a word, in my opinion, define it as better. Of course, we're gonna get the comments like, well, I can just get a Chipotle and pick up my own burrito. Yeah, obviously. Thank you, good job, commenter. Commenter of the month, everybody. Let's get a round of applause, good job. You could go to Chipotle, yeah. Why do you think this series exists? Of course, it's so stupid. Anyway, making your own tortillas, flavor, texture, better, period, end of story. The actual layering of flavors is much more distinguished. It's a better experience. It's a better burrito. It's more fun. So don't even say that to me. I'm about to come through the screen and pinch your little cheeks. And when Papa pinches your cheeks, it ain't gonna feel good. Maybe a little. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.